Teho wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked at the long line of cargo boxes waiting for him. The space station was busy today. Ships came and went every few minutes. Workers shouted orders. Machines made loud noises. It was just another normal day at Orbital Station 12. He was 28 years old. He had worked at this station for 5 years. His job was simple. He moved boxes from ships to storage rooms. It was hard work, but he never complained. He sent money back to Earth every month for his sick mother. That was all that mattered to him. Teho, move faster! His supervisor shouted from across the loading dock. The Imperial fleet arrives in 2 hours. Everything must be perfect. All. Teho nodded and pushed his hovercart toward the next pile of boxes. The Imperial fleet. He had heard the news that morning. The Galactic Empress herself was visiting their small station. Nobody knew why. A station like this was nothing special. It was just a rest stop between bigger places. The Valari Empire controlled most of the known galaxy. They were an ancient species. Their leaders lived for thousands of years. The current Empress had ruled for over 900 years. Teho had seen pictures of her on news screens. She was beautiful in a strange way. Her skin was pale blue. Her eyes were silver. Her hair was white like fresh snow. She looked young, but everyone knew she was older than most human civilizations. Why would someone like her come to a place like this? Teho did not care much. He just wanted to finish his work and go back to his small room. Maybe he would eat some instant noodles and watch a show before sleeping. That was his life. Simple and quiet. The hours passed quickly. Teho finished moving all the boxes just in time. The station manager ordered all workers to stand in lines along the main corridor. They had to welcome the Empress properly. Teho found himself standing between 2 alien workers. One was a tall green creature with 4 arms. The other was a short, furry being with big eyes. I heard she has not left the Imperial Palace in 50 years, the furry one whispered. Something big must be happening. Maybe she is looking for something, the green one replied. Or someone. Teho stayed quiet. He just wanted this ceremony to end. His back hurt from all the heavy lifting. His feet were tired. He was hungry. He did not care about empresses or politics or galactic matters. He was just a cargo worker from Earth. Suddenly, all the lights in the corridor changed to a soft golden color. Music started playing from hidden speakers. It was slow and beautiful. Everyone fell silent. Even the machines seemed to stop making noise. The air itself felt different. It felt heavy with importance. The main doors opened. Imperial guards walked in first. They wore shining armor and carried long spears that glowed with energy. Behind them came officials in fancy robes. They had serious faces and walked with perfect steps. Then came more guards. And then, finally, she appeared. The Galactic Empress was more beautiful in person than in any picture. She walked slowly, like time meant nothing to her. Her long white dress flowed behind her like a river of silk. Her silver eyes looked at everything and everyone. A small crown sat on her head, made of some metal that seemed to hold starlight inside it. Teho felt his heart beat faster. He did not know why. There was something about her presence that touched something deep inside him. He quickly looked down at his feet. He was just a dirty worker in worn clothes. He had no business looking at an empress. The empress walked past the first row of workers. Then the second row. She was getting closer to where Teho stood. He kept his eyes down. He could hear her soft footsteps. He could smell something sweet, like flowers from a dream he once had. Then the footsteps stopped. Teho felt someone looking at him. The air around him grew warm. His skin tingled. Slowly, he raised his eyes. The Empress stood right in front of him. Her silver eyes were fixed on his face. She was studying him like he was a puzzle she wanted to solve. Her lips were slightly parted. For a moment, she looked surprised. Then she smiled. It was a small smile. Gentle. But it changed her whole face. She went from looking like a distant goddess to looking like a real person. A person who had just found something precious. You, she said. Her voice was soft but clear. Everyone in the corridor heard it. What is your name? Taeho could not speak. His mouth was dry. His mind was empty. An empress was talking to him. To him, a nobody from Earth. His name is Taeho, Your Imperial Majesty, his supervisor said quickly, stepping forward. He is just a cargo worker. Please forgive him for his silence. He is surely overwhelmed by your divine presence. The empress did not look at the supervisor. Her eyes stayed on Taeho. Taeho, she repeated, like she was tasting the name. A human name, from Earth. She turned to her officials. Her smile grew wider. There was joy in her eyes. Real joy. Like a child who had finally found a lost toy. This is him, she announced. This is my husband. The silence that followed was absolute. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Taeho felt like the floor had disappeared beneath his feet. Had he heard correctly? Husband? Him? The supervisor fell to his knees. Your Majesty, surely there has been a mistake. This man is nobody. He has no title, no wealth, no importance. He is the one I have been searching for. The Empress interrupted. Her voice was still soft, but there was steel in it now. I have waited for him, for a very long time. She reached out and touched Taeho's cheek. Her fingers were cool and smooth. Taeho felt electricity run through his whole body. His heart was beating so fast, he thought it might explode. Do not be afraid, she said to him. I know this is sudden. I know you do not understand. But you will. Soon. You will understand everything. Taeho finally found his voice. It came out as a whisper. I think you have the wrong person. I am nobody. I move boxes. That is all I do. The Empress laughed. It was a beautiful sound, like bells ringing in a gentle wind. You are not nobody, she said. You are exactly who I need. Your soul shines brighter than any star I have seen in 900 years. I saw it the moment I entered this station. I felt it calling to me. She took his hand in hers. Her grip was firm but gentle. Come, she said. We have much to discuss, and a wedding to plan. Taeho looked around helplessly. His co-workers stared at him with wide eyes. His supervisor was still on his knees, looking like he might faint. The Imperial guards had formed a circle around them. There was no escape. The Empress began walking toward the doors, pulling Taeho with her. He followed because he had no choice. His mind was spinning. His legs moved on their own. As he walked past his supervisor, the man looked up at him with a mix of fear and envy. Good luck, the supervisor whispered. Taeho did not feel lucky. He felt like he had stepped into a dream that made no sense. A cargo worker and a Galactic Empress. It was impossible. It was crazy. It was happening. The doors closed behind them, and Taeho's old life ended forever. The Imperial ship was bigger than anything Taeho had ever seen. It was like a flying city, made of gold and crystal. Lights danced across its surface. Strange symbols glowed along its walls. The air inside smelled clean and sweet, nothing like the oil and sweat smell of the cargo station. Guards led Taeho through long hallways. The Empress had disappeared somewhere ahead, leaving him with soldiers who did not speak. They just walked and expected him to follow. He had no choice but to obey. His mind was still trying to understand what had happened. One moment, he was moving boxes. The next moment, an Empress was calling him her husband. It did not make sense. Nothing made sense anymore. They stopped in front of a large door. It opened by itself, revealing a room that took his breath away. The ceiling was painted with stars and planets. The floor was covered with soft carpet that felt like clouds under his tired feet. A large window showed the blackness of space outside, with distant stars twinkling like tiny diamonds. Wait here, one guard said. Then they left, and the door closed behind them. Taeho stood alone in the beautiful room. He looked at his dirty work clothes. He looked at his rough hands. He did not belong here. He belonged in small spaces, with hard beds and cheap food. Not in palaces with painted ceilings and cloud-soft floors. He walked to the window and looked out at space. Somewhere out there was Earth. His mother was there, in a small hospital, waiting for him to send money. What would happen to her now? Would anyone tell her what had happened to her son? The door opened behind him. Taeho turned around quickly. A woman entered. She was not the Empress. She was shorter and younger, with the same pale blue skin but darker eyes. She wore simple white clothes and carried a small tablet in her hands. "Hello," she said. Her voice was friendly. "My name is Bo-Ra. I am one of the Empress's personal servants. I will help you prepare for the journey to the Imperial Palace." "Prepare?" Taeho repeated. "Prepare for what? I still do not understand what is happening. Why did the Empress choose me? I am just a cargo worker." Bo-Ra smiled gently. "The Empress sees things that others cannot see. She has a gift. She can see into souls. She can see what a person truly is, deep inside, where nobody can hide." "And what did she see in me?" "I do not know exactly," Bo-Ra admitted, "but I know she has been waiting for someone for a very long time. Over 200 years, she has been searching, traveling to different worlds, looking at millions of beings, and today, on that small station, she finally found what she was looking for. She found you." Taeho sat down heavily on a nearby chair. His legs felt weak. 200 years of searching. For him, a nobody from a dying planet. "This has to be a mistake," he said. "I have nothing special about me. I am not smart. I am not strong. I am not important. I just work hard and try to survive. That is all." Bo-Ra knelt beside him. Her eyes were kind. "Maybe that is exactly what makes you special," she said softly. "Among all the powerful beings in the galaxy, the Empress did not choose a king or a warrior or a genius. She chose a man who works hard and tries to survive. A man who sends money to his sick mother every month. A man who never complains about his difficult life." Taeho stared at her. "How do you know about my mother?" "The Empress already ordered her transfer to the best medical center in the Empire," Bo-Ra said. "Your mother will receive the finest care. She will get better." "That is a promise from the throne itself." Tears filled Taeho's eyes before he could stop them. His mother. For years, he had worked so hard just to keep her alive. Cheap medicines, crowded hospitals, fear that one day he would not have enough money. And now, with one command, the Empress had taken away all that fear. "Why?" he whispered. "Why would she do that for me?" "Because you are to be her husband," Bo-Ra said simply. "Your family is now her family. Your pain is now her pain. That is how it works in the Imperial House." She stood up and offered him her hand. "Come, let me show you to your room. You need to rest. Tomorrow, we reach the Imperial Palace. You have much to learn and much to see." Taeho took her hand and stood up. He felt like he was moving through a dream. Everything was happening too fast. But in the middle of all the confusion, one thing was clear. His mother would be okay. Whatever else happened, at least his mother would be okay. Bo-Ra led him through more hallways. They passed servants who bowed when they saw him. They passed guards who saluted. Everyone treated him like he was already royalty. It felt strange and uncomfortable. Finally, they reached another room. This one was even bigger than the first. It had a bed that could fit 10 people. It had a bathroom with a pool instead of a shower. It had shelves filled with books in languages Taeho could not read. "These are your chambers," Bo-Ra said. "Fresh clothes are in the closet. Food will be brought whenever you wish. If you need anything, press this button and someone will come." She pointed to a small golden button on the wall. "Wait," Taeho said as she turned to leave. "Will I see the Empress again? Before the wedding? I have so many questions." Bo-Ra nodded. "The Empress wishes to dine with you tonight. She will answer your questions then. For now, rest. You have had a very long day." She left, and Taeho was alone again. He walked around the room slowly. He touched the soft blankets on the bed. He looked at the strange books on the shelves. He stared at himself in a mirror and saw a confused young man with tired eyes looking back at him. "What are you doing here?" he asked his reflection. The reflection had no answer. He took a shower in the pool-sized bathroom. The water was warm and smelled like forest rain. He found clothes in the closet simple but expensive. They fit perfectly, as if they had been made just for him. Maybe they had been. With imperial power, anything was possible. Hours passed. Taeho tried to sleep but could not. His mind kept racing with thoughts and questions. Why him? What did the Empress really want? Was this some kind of trap or trick? A soft bell rang. The door opened, and a servant entered. "The Empress awaits you for dinner," the servant announced. "Please follow me." Taeho followed. They walked through even more hallways until they reached a small dining room. It was not as grand as the other rooms. It felt almost cozy. A round table stood in the center with 2 chairs. The table was covered with food, fruits, and meats and dishes Taeho had never seen before. And there, sitting in one of the chairs, was the Empress. She had changed from her royal dress into simpler clothes. Without the crown and the flowing gown, she looked younger, more human, somehow, even though she was not human at all. "Sit," she said, gesturing to the chair across from her. "Please." Taeho sat. His heart was beating fast again. Being this close to her made him nervous in a way he could not explain. "I know you have questions," she said. "Ask them. I will answer honestly." Taeho took a deep breath. "Why me? Out of everyone in the galaxy, why did you choose me?" The Empress picked up a strange purple fruit and looked at it thoughtfully. "Do you know what my people call humans?" she asked. "They call you the Burning Ones, because your souls burn with something we do not have, something rare and precious. Hope." She looked at him with her silver eyes. "Most species lose hope easily. When they face darkness, they give up. When they face impossible odds, they accept defeat. But humans are different. You face darkness and keep walking. You face impossible odds and keep fighting. Your souls burn with a fire that never dies." She set down the fruit and leaned forward. "I saw your soul, Taeho. I saw every struggle you have faced. I saw every time you wanted to give up but did not. I saw you carry weight that would break most beings, and through it all, your hope never died. It never even flickered." Her voice grew soft. "I have searched for 200 years for a soul like yours. A soul that burns so bright. And finally, I found you." Taeho did not know what to say. Nobody had ever talked about him like that. Nobody had ever seen anything special in him. "But why do you need someone like me?" he asked. "You are an empress. You have everything." She smiled, but there was sadness in it. "I have everything," she agreed. "Except time. My time is running out, Taeho. And only someone like you can save me." The words hung in the air like a dark cloud. Taeho felt cold suddenly. Save her. What did that mean? And what had he gotten himself into? The Imperial Palace was located on a planet called Valora Prime. It was the most beautiful world Taeho had ever seen. The sky was painted with 2 suns, one golden and one silver. Mountains floated in the air, held up by ancient technology that nobody understood anymore. Rivers flowed upward into the clouds. Everything was magical and impossible. The palace itself was a city of crystal towers and golden domes. Millions of beings lived and worked there. Guards, servants, officials, scholars, all serving the throne. And now, Taeho was supposed to become part of this world. He was supposed to stand beside the Empress as her husband. 3 days had passed since their dinner on the ship. The Empress had not fully explained what she meant by save her. She had only said that he would understand after the wedding. After the bond was complete, Taeho did not know what that meant. But something about her words frightened him. Still, he had agreed to go through with it. What choice did he have? His mother was receiving the best care in the Empire. Guards protected him. Servants attended to his every need. And somewhere, deep inside, he felt drawn to the Empress. Not just because she was beautiful, but because she seemed lonely. 900 years of life. And she seemed so alone. The wedding day arrived like a storm. Servants woke Taeho before sunrise. They bathed him in water filled with flowers. They dressed him in clothes made of fabric that felt like liquid gold. They put rings on his fingers and chains around his neck. They combed his hair and painted marks on his forehead. These marks are sacred, Bo-Ra explained as she worked. They show that you are promised to the throne. No one can harm you now. To touch you with bad intent is to declare war on the empire itself. Taeho looked at himself in the mirror. He did not recognize the man staring back. That man looked like a prince. That man looked like he belonged in a palace. I feel like I am wearing a costume, he admitted. Bo-Ra smiled. All clothes are costumes. We wear them to show the world who we want to be. Today, you are showing the world that you are worthy of the Empress. And you are, Taeho. You truly are. The ceremony was held in the Grand Temple, the oldest building in the palace. It had stood for over 50,000 years. Its walls were covered with the names of every ruler in the empire's history. The Empress's name was there too, written in golden letters. Soon, Taeho's name would join hers. He walked down a long aisle made of white stone. On both sides, thousands of beings watched him. Aliens of every shape and color. Nobles in expensive clothes. Generals in shining armor. Priests in ancient robes. They all stared at him with curiosity and doubt. A human. A cargo worker. Marrying their immortal empress. It was unthinkable. But Taeho kept walking. His heart was pounding, his hands were shaking. But he kept walking. At the end of the aisle stood the Empress. She wore a dress that seemed made of starlight itself. It flowed and sparkled with every movement. Her white hair was arranged in complex patterns decorated with tiny crystals. Her silver eyes were fixed on him. And in them, he saw something that surprised him. She was nervous too. This ancient being, this 900-year-old ruler of galaxies, was nervous, just like him. The realization made Taeho feel a little better. They were both stepping into the unknown together. He reached her side and stopped. A priest stood before them. An ancient Valari with gray skin and clouded eyes. The priest raised his hands and spoke in a language Taeho did not understand. The words echoed through the temple like thunder. Then the priest switched to a language Taeho knew. Today, two souls become one. Today, the Empress of the Valari takes a husband. Today, history changes forever. The priest turned to the Empress. Do you, Yuna of House Eternal, choose this man to be your bonded partner? Do you offer him your life, your power, and your soul? I do, the Empress said. Her voice was clear and strong. The priest turned to Taeho. Do you, Taeho of Earth, choose this woman to be your bonded partner? Do you offer her your life, your strength, and your soul? Taeho hesitated. Offer his soul. The words felt heavy. But then he looked at the Empress. At Yuna. And he saw the hope in her eyes. The same hope she said burned inside him. I do, he said. The priest raised his hands again. Strange energy filled the air. Taeho felt something warm spreading through his body. It started in his heart and moved outward, into his arms, his legs, his head. It felt like sunlight was flowing through his veins. He looked at the Empress and saw that she was glowing. Her pale blue skin had become bright, almost white. Her silver eyes were shining like twin stars. Then she took his hands. The moment their fingers touched, Taeho felt something impossible. He felt her. Not just her hands, but her emotions, her thoughts, her memories. Hundreds of years of loneliness crashed into him like a wave. Hundreds of years of searching, hundreds of years of hoping that someone would come. And now he was here, and she was not alone anymore. Tears ran down his cheeks. He did not know if they were his tears or hers. The line between them was blurring. They were becoming something new. Something connected. The priest spoke one final word, a word that rang through the temple like a bell. And just like that, it was done. They were married. The crowd erupted in cheers. Music played. Flowers fell from the ceiling like colorful rain. But Taeho barely noticed any of it. He was still holding the Empress's hands, still feeling her presence inside him. "Can you feel it?" she whispered. "The bond." "Yes," he whispered back. "I feel everything." She smiled. For the first time since he had met her, she looked truly happy. "Come," she said. "There is a feast waiting for us. And after that, I will tell you everything. I will tell you why I needed you so badly." The feast was held in a hall bigger than any building Taeho had seen on Earth. Tables stretched for miles, covered with food from 1,000 different worlds. Musicians played strange instruments. Dancers moved in patterns that defied gravity. Everyone celebrated. Taeho and Yuna sat at the head table, looking down at the celebration. Nobles came to congratulate them. Officials came to bow. Generals came to swear loyalty. Taeho accepted it all. In a daze. "You will get used to it," Yuna said, sensing his discomfort through their bond. "The attention. The ceremony. It becomes normal after a few decades." "A few decades?" Taeho laughed weakly. "I am human. I do not have decades like you do." "A few decades?" Yuna looked at him strangely. "You did not know? The bond changes everything. As my husband, you will share my lifespan. You will live as long as I live." Taeho felt the room spin. Live as long as her. Centuries. Thousands of years. Maybe. He had never imagined such a thing. "Is that why you chose a human?" he asked. "Because we do not live long naturally?" "No," she said softly. "I chose you because of your soul. The lifespan is just a gift. A gift I give to the one I love. No. I chose you becoming Astonished. I chose you because of your soul. 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 Love." The word hung in the air between them. Did she love him? Did he love her? They had only known each other for a few days. But through the bond, he had felt centuries of her loneliness, and she had felt years of his struggle. Maybe that was enough. Maybe knowing someone's soul was better than knowing their favorite color or their daily habits. After the feast, Yuna continued, "I will take you to a private place. I will show you the truth about my people. The truth about why I am dying. And the truth about how you can save me." The happiness Taeho felt dimmed a little. Dying. She had mentioned it before. And now, after the wedding, after the bond, he would finally learn what it meant. "Whatever it is," he said, taking her hand. Yuna squeezed his hand. Through the bond, he felt her gratitude, her relief, her hope. "Yes," she agreed. Together, the feast continued around them. Guests danced and laughed and celebrated. But for Taeho and Yuna, the real journey was about to begin. A journey into secrets that had been hidden for centuries. A journey that would test everything they had just promised each other. And somewhere, deep in the bond they now shared, Taeho felt a shadow, a darkness waiting, a truth that would change everything. But he was not afraid. For the first time in his life, he was not afraid. Because whatever was coming, he would not face it alone. The feast lasted until midnight. When it finally ended, Yuna led Taeho through secret passages that only the royal family knew. They walked in silence, their footsteps echoing on ancient stone. The bond between them hummed quietly, sharing feelings without words. They reached a door made of black metal. Strange symbols covered its surface, glowing with faint blue light. Yuna pressed her hand against it, and the symbols flared brightly before the door swung open. Inside was a room Taeho had not expected. It was not grand or beautiful. It was simple and sad. Medical machines lined the walls, tubes and wires hung from the ceiling. In the center of the room stood a bed, and on that bed lay another Valari. This Valari looked exactly like Yuna. The same face, the same hair, the same body, but she was clearly sick. Her skin was gray instead of blue. Her eyes were closed. Her breathing was shallow and weak. "Who is that?" Teho asked, his voice barely a whisper. "That is me," Yuna said softly. "My true body." Teho stared at her in confusion. "I do not understand." Yuna walked to the bed and looked down at the sleeping figure with sad eyes. "Let me explain from the beginning," she said. "My people, the Valari, are not like other species. We are born with two parts, a physical body and a soul form. The soul form can leave the body and walk around, talk, and act like a normal person. That is what you have been seeing. That is what married you today, my soul form." She touched the sleeping figure's hand. "But the soul form cannot exist without the physical body. They are connected. If the body dies, the soul dies too. And my body, Teho, is dying." The words hit Teho like a punch to the chest. Dying. The Empress was dying. "What is wrong with it?" he asked. "Why is your body sick?" Yuna sighed and sat down in a chair beside the bed. She looked tired suddenly. Ancient and tired. 900 years ago, when I first took the throne, I made a mistake. I was young and proud. I thought I could do anything. A great enemy threatened our empire. Instead of fighting them with ships and soldiers, I tried to destroy them with pure soul energy. I used a forbidden technique that no one had used in 10,000 years. Her voice grew heavy with regret. I won. The enemy was destroyed. But the technique damaged my body beyond repair. The doctors said I had maybe 50 years to live. I should have died long ago. "Then how are you still alive?" Teho asked. "Through sheer will," Yuna replied. "And by putting my body into this deep sleep. In sleep, it decays slower. But it still decays. Every year, I lose a little more. Every decade, I grow weaker. And now, after 9 centuries, I have almost nothing left." She looked at Teho with desperate eyes. "The doctors say I have 1 year at most. After that, my body will fail completely. And when my body dies, so will I." Teho felt tears forming in his eyes. Through the bond, he felt her fear, her sadness, her exhaustion from fighting death for so long. "Is there no cure?" he asked. "No medicine? No technology that can help?" "There is one thing," Yuna said. "Just one. The ancient texts speak of it. A healing energy so powerful that it can restore even the most damaged body. But this energy is rare. Most species do not have it. Only one species in the known galaxy produces it naturally." She reached out and took Teho's hand. "Humans." Teho blinked. "Humans?" "Yes. What I told you before about hope, it was not just pretty words. Human souls generate a unique energy. Scientists call it emotional resonance. The galaxy calls it hope. Whatever you call it, it has healing properties that nothing else can match." She gripped his hand tighter. "When I searched for 200 years, I was not just looking for a husband. I was looking for a human with the strongest possible soul. A human whose hope burned so bright that it could heal my dying body. And when I saw you on that station, Teho, your soul almost blinded me. It was the brightest thing I had ever seen." Teho's mind was spinning. All of this, the wedding, the bond, the empire, it was all because of his soul. Because of some energy he did not even know he had. "So you need me to heal you," he said slowly. "That is why you married me. That is why you bonded with me." "Yes," Yuna admitted. Her voice was small. "I am sorry. I should have told you before the wedding. But I was afraid. Afraid you would refuse. Afraid you would see me as a monster who only wanted to use you." "Are you using me?" The question hung in the air. Through the bond, Teho felt Yuna's emotions crash into each other. Guilt, shame, fear, but also something else. something warm and tender. At first, that was my plan, she confessed. Find the brightest human soul. Marry them. Use their energy to heal. It was cold. It was calculated. It was wrong. She looked up at him with tears in her silver eyes. But then I saw you. Not just your soul, but you. A man who carried impossible burdens without complaint. A man who worked himself half to death for his sick mother. A man who had every reason to give up but never did. She stood up and faced him fully. I fell in love with you, Taeho. Not just your soul. You. Your kindness. Your strength. Your gentle heart. When I said you would be my husband, I meant it with everything I am, not because I need your energy, but because I need you. Taeho did not know what to say. Through the bond, he could tell she was being honest. Every word she spoke was true. She really did love him, and somewhere, deep inside, he realized he was starting to love her too. How does the healing work? He asked. What do I need to do? Yuna wiped her tears and took a deep breath. The bond we share now allows energy to flow between us. When you feel hope, when you feel love, when you feel any strong positive emotion, some of that energy transfers to me. Over time, it will heal my body. It will repair the damage I did 9 centuries ago. How much time? If your soul is as strong as I believe it is, maybe a year, maybe less. Taeho thought about this. A year of sharing his emotions. A year of hoping and loving and feeling. That did not sound so bad. In fact, it sounded almost natural. Will it hurt me? He asked. Giving you my energy? No, Yuna promised. Human souls regenerate quickly. Whatever you give me, you will recover within hours. You will not even notice it. And Taeho nodded slowly. He walked to the bed and looked down at Yuna's true body. This fragile, sleeping form. This was what he was fighting for. This was what he could save. You should have told me earlier, he said. Before the wedding. I know. I was a coward. You were scared. There is a difference. He turned back to her. The soul form. His wife. I do not know if I love you yet, he admitted. We have only known each other for a few days. But I know I do not want you to die. I know I want to help you. And I know that whatever feelings I have, they are real. They are not fake. He took her hands in his. So let us do this together. Let me heal you. Not because you need my energy, but because I want to give it. Because that is what husbands do. They take care of their wives. Yuna stared at him in disbelief. Through the bond, he felt her emotions overwhelming her. Joy. Relief. Gratitude. Love. You are not angry? She asked. You do not hate me for not telling you. I was a cargo worker yesterday, Taeho said with a small smile. Today, I am an emperor. Tomorrow, I will be a healer. My life stopped making sense the moment you pointed at me and called me your husband. One more crazy thing does not really matter anymore. Yuna laughed through her tears. It was a beautiful sound. You are the strangest human I have ever met, she said. I thought I was the only human you knew this well. You are. And you are still the strangest. They stood there together, holding hands, looking at the body that needed saving. The machines beeped softly. The symbols on the door glowed. Somewhere outside, the 2 suns were rising. Starting tomorrow, Yuna said. We will begin the healing sessions. A few hours each day, where we simply share emotions. It will be difficult at first. Feelings are not easy to control, but with practice, it will become natural. I have been controlling my feelings my whole life, Taeho said. Usually by pushing them down. It will be nice to finally let them out. Yuna squeezed his hands. Thank you, Taeho. For understanding. For accepting. For not running away. Where would I run? He joked. We are on a different planet. I do not even know where the doors are, she smiled. And through the bond, for the first time, Taeho felt something like peace coming from her. Real peace. The peace of someone who had been fighting alone for 900 years, and finally had someone to fight beside. Come, she said softly. Let us go to our chambers. The sun is rising, and we both need rest. She led him out of the secret room, away from the machines and the sleeping body. The door closed behind them, sealing away the darkness. Ahead of them lay a new path, a path of healing and hope, and Taeho walked it without fear. Because now he understood his purpose. Now he knew why the universe had put him on that cargo station at that exact moment. He was there to save an empress. And perhaps, in doing so, he would save himself too. 8 months had passed since the wedding. 8 months of healing sessions, of shared emotions, of growing closer. Taeho had changed in ways he never expected. He had learned to read ancient texts. He had learned to speak 3 new languages. He had learned to walk with confidence through halls filled with beings who once looked down on him. But the biggest change was inside him. The bond with Yuna had grown stronger every day. What started as a thin thread between them had become a river of shared feelings. When she was happy, he felt warmth in his chest. When she was worried, he felt tension in his shoulders. They were connected in ways that went beyond words. And through that connection, he poured his hope into her. Every morning, they would sit together in the healing room. She would hold his hands, and he would think about all the things that gave him strength. His mother's smile, the sunrise over Earth, the feeling of finishing a hard day's work, small moments of joy that he had collected throughout his life. Those moments flowed through the bond like golden light. They entered Yuna's soul form and traveled to her sleeping body. And slowly, day by day, the body began to heal. The doctors were amazed. Tissue that had been dead for centuries was coming back to life. Color was returning to gray skin. Vital signs were improving. The impossible was happening. I have never seen anything like this, the head doctor told Taeho one evening. Her recovery defies everything we know about medicine. At this rate, she might fully heal within a month. A month. After 900 years of dying, Yuna would be whole again. Because of him. Because of a cargo worker from Earth with nothing special about him except an ability to keep hoping, news of the healing spread across the empire. People talked about the human emperor in whispers of wonder. Species that had dismissed humanity as primitive and weak began to look at Earth differently. If one human could save the Galactic Empress, what else could humans do? Ambassadors came from distant worlds. They wanted to meet Taeho. They wanted to understand humans better. They wanted to form alliances with Earth. Suddenly, a small blue planet that most of the galaxy had ignored became important. Taeho handled it all with surprising grace. He discovered that being a cargo worker had taught him useful skills. He knew how to be patient. He knew how to work with difficult people. He knew how to stay calm when everything around him was chaos. These simple skills served him well as an emperor. But the most important thing was Yuna. Through everything else, she remained his center, his anchor, his home. One morning, Taeho woke up to find her standing by the window, looking out at the floating mountains. She seemed different somehow. More solid. More real. Good morning, he said, stretching in the comfortable bed. She turned to face him, and his breath caught in his throat. Her skin was fully blue again. Her eyes sparkled with health. Her posture was strong and straight. She looked like a different person from the tired soul form he had first met. The doctors checked me this morning, she said. Her voice was steady and clear. My true body woke up 2 hours ago. I am fully healed, Taeho. After 900 years, I am finally whole. Taeho jumped out of bed and ran to her. He grabbed her hands and looked at her closely. Through the bond, he felt her joy flooding into him. Pure, overwhelming joy. You did it, she whispered. You saved me. We did it, he corrected. Together. She threw her arms around him and held him tight. They stood there for a long time, just holding each other. Two people from different worlds, different species, different lives, united by something that went beyond all those differences. I need to address the Empire, Yuna said finally, pulling back slightly. They need to see that their empress is well. They need to know that hope exists, even when everything seems lost. I will be right beside you, Taeho promised. An hour later, they stood together on the grand balcony of the palace. Below them, millions of beings had gathered. The crowd stretched beyond the horizon, filling every street and square. Screens floating in the sky broadcast the moment to every planet in the empire. Yuna stepped forward and raised her hands. The crowd fell silent. "My people," she announced, her voice magically amplified to reach every ear. "I stand before you today, renewed, healed, saved." She reached back and took Taeho's hand, pulling him forward to stand beside her. "I was saved by this man, a human named Taeho, a cargo worker from Earth, a nobody by the standards of our galaxy. Yet his soul proved more powerful than any weapon, any technology, any magic." She looked at Taeho with love shining in her eyes. "For centuries, we have looked at humans as primitive. We dismissed their short lives. We ignored their small planet. We thought they had nothing to offer the galaxy. We were wrong." Her voice grew stronger. "Humans carry inside them something precious. Something we have forgotten. Something our ancient, powerful civilizations lost long ago. They carry hope. Unbreakable, undying hope. The kind of hope that can heal wounds 9 centuries old. The kind of hope that can light up the darkest corners of the universe." She raised Taeho's hand in hers. "This is your emperor. Not because of blood or birth or conquest, but because of the strength of his soul. Because of the love in his heart. Because he taught me that power is not about ruling others, it is about lifting others up." The crowd erupted in cheers. It was the loudest sound Taeho had ever heard. Millions of voices calling his name. Millions of hands reaching toward the balcony. Species that had once looked at humans with contempt were now looking at him with respect. He stepped forward and spoke. His voice trembled at first, but the bond with Yuna gave him courage. "I am still the same person I was 8 months ago," he said. "I still think about moving cargo and eating instant noodles. I still miss Earth. I still do not understand half of what happens in this palace. The crowd laughed warmly. "But I have learned something important. It does not matter where you come from. It does not matter how small you are, or how weak you seem. What matters is what you carry inside you. What matters is whether you choose hope over despair, love over fear, connection over isolation." He looked at Yuna and smiled. "An empress saw something in me that I could not see in myself. She believed in me when I did not believe in myself. And that belief changed everything. That is what we can do for each other. That is what humanity can offer the galaxy. We can see the best in others, even when they cannot see it themselves." He turned back to the crowd. "So this is my promise to you. I will serve this empire with everything I have. Not because I am special, but because I choose to be. I choose hope. I choose love. I choose to believe that tomorrow can be better than today." The cheers grew even louder. Taeho felt tears on his face. He did not wipe them away. Later that night, after the celebrations had quieted, Taeho and Yuna walked through the palace gardens. 2 moons hung in the sky, casting silver light on the strange flowers around them. "You are a natural leader," Yuna said. "I did not expect that from a cargo worker. I learned from the best supervisor," Taeho joked. "He yelled at me a lot." Yuna laughed and leaned against him. They walked in comfortable silence for a while. "What happens now?" Taeho asked eventually. "Your body is healed. You do not need me for healing anymore." "I still need you," Yuna said softly. "Not for healing. For living. For the first time in 9 centuries, I actually want to live. I want to wake up each morning and see your face. I want to grow old together. Even if old for us means thousands of years." She stopped and turned to face him. "I love you, Taeho. Not because of what you can give me, but because of who you are. Will you stay with me? Not as a healer or an emperor, but as my husband? My partner? My home?" Taeho thought about his old life. The small room, the hard work, the loneliness. Then he thought about now. The palace, the purpose, the woman before him who had become his entire world. Where else would I go? He said with a smile. This is where I belong now, beside you. He kissed her under the silver moons. And in that moment, the cargo worker from Earth and the 900-year-old Empress became something more than individuals. They became partners, they became family, they became hope itself, shining across the galaxy. And somewhere back on Earth, in a beautiful medical center, a mother opened her eyes from peaceful sleep and smiled. She did not know all the details yet, but she knew, somehow, that her son had found his place in the universe, and that was enough.